Thank you, Matt. So 6 weeks, more or less, into it, as part of reaching out right and left, sending DMs, etc. Opportunity of a lifetime, maybe, maybe not, comes as a result. And so basically, a founder who is building the first Canada-based AI search engine with lots of different an ecosystem of AI tools, blah blah blah. Looks like we're a great fit. He needs some of the stuff that I know how to do because as a coach, I can build much better AI coaches than what's out there. Bottom line, what do I do? I am presented with, do I continue with my own project or do I shift, pivot, and become an ally in somebody else's project? I'm sure these kind of things must happen all the times, right? Especially when you are very active, opportunities just come to you. And then the question is, what do I do? Do I stick with the original plan and say no? Or do I say, whoa, this is totally amazing. I had no idea this could be an opportunity for me, and then follow that? So that's a whole question. And then I guess a follow-up question is, if I were to fully commit to this other venture, what does then the whole work that I am doing in Fundraise becomes? Because now I don't know anymore whose brand I'm building. If I'm building the personal brand as part of this company, or I'm building the company's personal brand, because this is a super mega startup, like just starting. And anyway, I'll leave it at that for now.
I mean, what I'll show to make this relevant for everyone is this is this thing I call like the next move matrix. I can share this with you guys afterwards. And the reason why I created this is I do get asked to join things all the time and do things, and I say no to almost 100% of it. It's very rare that like I say yes to something other than the stuff I already have going on, because I've got enough going on. And when I'm evaluating opportunities, I used to, when I was young, say yes all the time to things. And what I found was a lot of the time I wasted time on stuff, or I spent a lot of time on things that if I just sat down and thought about what matters to me, I would have said no to the thing much sooner. But instead, I was just rushing, I was moving fast, and I would just sloppily say yes and waste a bunch of time. So over the years, it probably took me a decade, I started to think of myself more like an asset manager. I was inspired by a documentary. You guys should all go watch it if you're interested. It's called Icahn, Icahn, on HBO. And it's about Carl Icahn, the famous investor. I think he's the 10th richest man in America. And it struck me as like, wow, this guy's this amazing investor, obviously very wealthy. And it's interesting to see how he thinks on like his different assets and growing them. And what I was curious about is like, what happens if I start to view my own portfolio as I'm an asset manager versus just this founder, and start to act more like an investor versus an entrepreneur. Okay. And what I did then was started to look at some of the best investors ever, people like Ray Dalio, Kitaro. It is good to see you, dude. So, wow. So me and Kitaro, sorry, quick note. Kitaro met through Instagram, funny enough. And when I was in Tokyo, Kitaro gave me a tour around Tokyo for a couple of days and we were hanging out and jamming. So small world to now have him in OS Plus. It's good to see you here, Kitaro.
Good to be part of the community.
Yeah, awesome. So back to where I was getting through, guys, is like after studying all these investors and such, I basically came up with these criteria by which I'd evaluate any opportunity. Okay. Because it's like when investors are evaluating companies, right? They look at the founder, they look at the product, they look at the business model, the profitability, the risk, the market, right? So they have these criteria by which they're evaluating an opportunity. And so I made my own criteria, right? Does it have can I build a small company out of this? Like, I don't want to have a massive company of a lot of people. Does it hit my financial goals? Does it feel like play? Does it feel obvious for me as a next step, right? I don't want to do shit that's random, right? I want to be like, oh, Matt's not doing that thing. That makes sense. Like, he's going to crush it in that thing. I want to have a clear path to $5 million of revenue a year. I want to make something people want. I want it to be cash flowing. I want it to be highly scalable. I want to control 95% of it. Like, I will not have co-founders, period, ever. I love the problem. I want to love the customer. I need to have distribution product fit. So I need to be able to build an audience around what I do that then fits with the product that I want to build. Okay. I need to be able to build the thing in 3 months or less. And so what I would then do, right, is I would go to the given things, right? And say I have different ideas, right? I can go and be like, okay, on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being that something is like very good or is amazing. Sorry, one being that it's shit, sorry. 10 being that it's like amazing on that criteria, right? Like how does a thing score? So, idea here is like, say this idea is like, Founder OS. I'm just using a ridiculous example, right? It's like, okay, does it build on my product skills? Yes. Does it have a small company vibe? Oh, yes. Financial? Yes. Play? Pretty damn good. Do things that are obvious? Yes. Does it have this? So I'm kind of scoring it, right? And then over here, maybe it's an idea to build an e-commerce business as an example, right? Building product skills, so for me. Like it doesn't really feel like I'm like building on my product skills. Small company vibe, no, I probably need to have like a big company for that. Financial, no, it's got shit margins. Play, no, I hate it. Do things that are obvious, no, I've never done that before, so it's not obvious. 5 million ARR, I've never done it, so I don't think so. Make something people want, I'm sure I could. Cash flowing, so. You get it, right? So as you go through this now, it's not just you thinking in your head about an opportunity randomly and being like, do you want to do it or not? Right? Instead, you're taking a little bit more of a data-driven approach to what you're going to do next. Okay. And what this allows you to then do is essentially take a bit more of an objective approach when evaluating what your next move in life will be. So in this case, I'm talking about making my next move, which is like starting a company, right? But it could be, where you want to live in the world, right? Or it could be, an agency that you're going to start, right? So I'll share this with you, but what I would encourage you to do, Niccolo, is like, I don't have the answers for you, to be honest with you, right? Like you got to evaluate this stuff, right? So I can't teach you like what you should make the decision on, but I can teach you like the way I would look at it, right? And what I would do is I would think about making your own version of this, which is like, what are your criteria, right? Say the most important things to you are like stability, safety, sleep at night, consistent income. You want income now. You don't want to be the CEO. You don't want to be a founder. And like, as you evaluate things like doing someone with someone else being the number two is more exciting, then like that will work for you because that's part of your criteria. On the other side, if like you're itching to start your own thing, you'll regret if you don't start your own thing in life. You're tired of working for other people. You want to control the destiny. You want to love the customer, love the product. You may look at certain things and go, this opportunity is not good. I'm going to keep building my own thing. Right. So step one is getting clear. And I list this here. Step one, come up with your criteria, then list all your ideas of what you could do. Right. And by the way, this could be like 20 ideas. Right. And then score them, 1 being shit if it's 1, 10 amazing. And you're trying to then, you can get a sense of what stuff scores the highest. Right. And it doesn't mean that you have to do the thing that scores the highest, obviously. Right. But it's going to help you look at these opportunities a little bit differently. Right. Maybe there's an idea you really like, but then you're scared about a certain part of it. Now, maybe you can identify the part of it that you don't like. You're like, oh, I like it, but it's this part that, it doesn't feel like I get much time freedom from it. It's like, cool. Maybe you decide to do that opportunity, but you're going to like hire a chief of staff early on to give you that time freedom that you're scared about with the opportunity, let's say. Right. So just something I find useful. I use this all the time to measure different ideas. This is how I would evaluate things like that. It's also how I'd evaluate starting a new company. So when you're thinking about maybe a bunch of offers, you could put it in here and then come up with a way of evaluating different offer ideas. The other thing to consider is that you could also upload this to ChatGPT, right? Download it as a PDF, upload it to ChatGPT and say, hey, come up with ideas and business ideas that help fulfill this criteria list that I have, right? And help rejig my offer or help come up with new offers in this space that would hit these criteria. So it would give me, a small company vibe, hit my financial goals, feel like play, or whatever your criteria are. And so now you're kind of like using AI as well to like help you come up with shit that hits your criteria. Maybe because maybe you don't have an idea that hits it, or maybe you have some good ideas, but they're still lacking because they're heavily service-based or not scalable, or it doesn't feel quite like play. I think like, these are ways to kind of help you workshop offers, workshop product ideas, business ideas a lot faster. So just sharing that.